Okay, good morning. We are live this morning and we're still on Present with Power. It's September presentation time. Yesterday we talked about some of the sort of things that you should not really worry your little heads about because, as I always say, perfection is just unreachable. So, what you have to do is just go for it. So, make sure you check out the little tips I gave yesterday. Today, we're going to look at the different reasons that we do presentations and the thing about how we present. So let's look at this. How many different ways can you do a presentation? And why do you do a presentation? The one we know obviously is at work. If you've been in work and you've worked in the corporate sector, or any sector come to that, you will have been asked to do a presentation at one time or another about a certain issue or subject. And that's very much about conveying information. The thing about when you're presenting information to a group is you really, really have to be aware of how that group takes in information. If it's an in-house thing and it's colleague to colleague, peer to peer, the chances are you are all speaking the same language. However, everybody receives information in a different way. And you may think you need it to sound complicated, or you don't even realize it's complicated. But anyone in the audience who is listening to it may not be fully understanding what you're talking about or the issue at hand. And if you have to take a presentation out of your work to somewhere else, if you're pitching ideas, if you're doing a presentation on an issue you can solve, pitching for funding, anything like that, the information must be really drilled down to what the audience need to know. And the problem is, as speakers and presenters, we just assume that everybody wants to know everything. They might do. The problem is you can't give them everything in the time frame that you have. So when you're planning this presentation, you need to ensure that you know what the audience need. So if you're pitching for funding, for instance, your presentation has to work on things like, how many people want it, what's the rate of return, what's the value to it, how do you know people want it? Because people will invest in a business sometimes because it's just a great idea, but they also need to know that they're going to get money back. They're not just going to chuck money at something if they don't see how they may get a return, or how they may get a return in something else, in bonuses or whatever it may be. So when you're presenting something because you have information to present to somebody else, keep it simple. And I'm going to let you in on the secret of the rule of three. As human beings, number three is huge. And I don't mean in that, number seven's a lucky number and this is that. We as humans tend to work in threes. Think about it. We're born, we live, we die. We get up, we have a day, we go to bed. We have breakfast, we have dinner, we have tea. We have a beginning, we have a middle, we have an end. And we accept that structure very easily. The minute you go into four, it's a list. And then our brains go, I hate lists. I don't want to listen to a list. And we tend to shut down sometimes. And the other thing you have to remember is you are fighting the perceptions that you know nothing about. So the way you put information across, the information may be vital. It may be life-changing. It might even be telling everybody that the world is about to end. But if you don't put that information in a way that everyone can receive it, and remember when we receive it, when we hear something, It goes through a million and odd filters of, our understanding, our belief of things, our perceptions of life, our trust, our likability, all of that happens in a split second. And we all have triggers where our brain will just shut down. We won't listen anymore. I know I have triggers. The minute someone says to me, trust me, the back of my head I'm going, oh, no, not if they told me to. So we all have these things that go in our minds. And your job is to present information effectively so that the people listening receive that information and understand it. So simplify it down. Don't have a ton of information on a PowerPoint. Humans cannot effectively read and listen at the same time. And I know people say to me, oh, they've all got different learning styles. Yes, but not at the same time. Then it just becomes confusing because we're trying to listen because someone's speaking and we're trying to read because there's something up there. And it really causes a bit of a jar in the brain. You're not going to feel it, but that's what happens. So don't put loads of information on a slide. Pick out the most important one and put it on a slide, or use an image, something that will make us go. I worked with someone who had to do a presentation, and it was about single-use plastic. It was very moving, but lots of statistics, and at one point, there was a load of statistics, and it came out with how many tons of plastic were floating around in the sea. And I said, actually, that is the number that is going to make us sit up and listen, because there's too many numbers for us to. So it's about using your PowerPoint or whatever presentation software you're using to emphasize. A good slide will double the amount of time you've got to get information to people. If you read what's on the slide and you've given people the notes that are on the slide, you don't actually have to be there. In all fairness, people will just read it and give you a ring. So be careful you don't become someone who just repeats parrot fashion what is on a slide. Really think about, why does your audience need to know this? And how do you know that they have and they're going to go and implement it? The other sorts of presentations we do are we present our business. Now, that's not necessarily with a slideshow and an audience. We present our business out there, and we do it on social media, we do it with physical meetings, networking, workshops, a whole myriad of ways that we present our business. To do that well, it needs to be consistent. Do you know the colors you always use? Do you have the same banner across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the others? When you do video, do you have your logo somewhere so people can associate you with your logo? If you're doing a video from home and you've got a banner, do you put it behind you so people recognize you and your business? If you are doing workshops, if you are doing your 60-second pitch, are you telling people what you want them to do? If you've got slides for a presentation, is your logo on every slide? Do you put your details on how to contact you on the end slide? Presenting your business needs to ensure that everyone who sees wherever you are across the spectrum of social media, out there in the live world, video, whatever it may be, they need to be able to contact you, because once it's done, they'll forget. They won't think about it again. So if you haven't told them and they haven't easily been able to grab your information, then you could be losing potential leads or clients. So when you present your business, present your business. The media and whatever you use and the message and everything else is great. But you have to have that point where people go, this is amazing. I need to work with her, and she's amazing, and he's amazing. And look, there's the logo. I remember the logo. And then I can get in contact with, great, I'll just grab that email. or at the end in comments, put all the links. However you need to do it when you're posting stuff, make sure people know it's you. And if you're posting images on social media, put your logo on them. You know, if they're free images or images you've created or anything like that, put your logo on them. People need to associate your logo with your business. And then there's the presentation where we present ourselves. And that is exactly the same as your business. Know who you are, be authentic, go for it, no matter that you may make mistakes and you may think it's not proper enough or, you know, just go for it, just do it. Because if you're not presenting yourself as you while talking about your business or while doing a video or while doing a pitch presentation, then people aren't really getting to know you. And if they don't get to know you emotionally and all the other stuff, you can't create likability and you can't create trust. So don't worry if you haven't got a full face of makeup on. I rarely wear a full face of makeup. Don't worry if, you know, you're having a bad hair day or something. I have been known when I've been feeling really rough and I knew I need to get something out, but honestly, you would not have wanted to see me. It'd have put you off your breakfast. Where I've done slides where I haven't been seen, I've just done the voiceover. There are so many ways you can present yourself and your business. And that's not just about PowerPoint presentations. It's about how you present everything, how you wrap it up in a beautiful bow and give it to people so that they recognize who it's from, and they recognize the branding, and they recognize the personality behind it, and they recognize your authority behind it, and they recognize your expertise behind it. That's what presenting is all about. So I want you to think about that and then just sit and think about all the ways you can present yourself. And it doesn't have to be everywhere. Pick the places that you are concentrating on presenting yourself and ask yourself, do all your images have your logo on? Is it easy for people to contact you? If you're doing video, have you got it on the screen, or are you able to put an end bit with your contact details on? Are you able to go that one step further and do something like I do, where I have all the way there and I can do all sorts of things with that? But actually, you don't have to have all this equipment. All you really need to do is just make sure that people can contact you easily. And that's about presenting you and your business. I hope that's helped. Any questions, please do let me know. And this will go up with all the others. And towards the end of the month, I'll try and collate them all together so it's easier to get hold of. So thank you for listening, and I will see you again very, very soon. And watch out for any of the articles or workbooks or anything else I think will be of use. And I will let everybody know where they will be. All right. Bye, people.